Hi, let me ask you a question. How many of you, maybe even years ago, made yourself a shooting board, discovered that for you it didn't work, and basically stuck it in a corner in your workshop and you've never used it since? And instead, you go to the electric sander and you sand the end grain. Let's take a look at why you might have been struggling with it and see if we can't fix those problems for you, and then you can get beautiful clean cut end grain. I've got a shooting board here, but it doesn't start with the shooting board. It actually starts with your plane. It doesn't matter particularly which plane it is, but there's certain things that are really important. And number 5 works well, pretty common. I mean, yes, you can have dedicated shooting board planes, and if you've got the cash to go and buy one of those, that's the route to go. But first of all, you need to understand what the principles are and why you were struggling in the first place before you go splashing the cash. Now, you can just use an ordinary number 4 plane. I've got a couple of them here, but there's something to look out for, something that's really important. Let me grab a set square. And if we look at this plane, for example, and I put the set square on there, it's nice and square. If I put it on this one, both of them Stanley planes, probably similar age, I suspect it doesn't really matter. I think one's a little bit older than the other, but either way, if I put it on this one, there is actually a gap there that rocks a little bit. That isn't square. So if you're right-handed and shooting, it's not going to be square, it's going to be actually out of square. The weird thing is though, if you happen to be left-handed and your shooting board is that way, you can use that plane. But we'll lay that one to one side. This record plane is actually square on both sides, so we could use a record plane. I've also got over here a 4.5, which is just a bit bigger and meatier. It's got more weight to it, and again, that one's nice and square and sides are nice and chunky on that one. And I do often use this one because it will sit quite nicely there, and there's plenty to get hold of, and if your board is a bit thicker, that extra weight when you're shooting the end grain really does help. But my main go-to is a Stanley number 5, and that's what we're going to actually work with today. One of the things to check with your plane though, before you do anything, is check that it's sharp. And I don't mean it was sharp last time you put it away. I mean sharpen it before you start trying to shoot end grain. So you've got a really good quality sharp edge. That makes a world of difference. You also need to set it so that the plane is square, or parallel I should say, is parallel to the actual sole of the plane. Otherwise, when you do shoot it, you'll actually shoot at an angle, which you don't want. You want everything to be nice and crisp and square. So let's assume you've sharpened your plane. Let's take a look at the shooting board. This one's a bit fancier because it also has a mitre fence in it as well. But these are wedged in, they're not glued in, so I can literally just tap it on that side, tap that one and get that one out of the way. We'll ignore that one for the time being. If I take a board, this has been sawn, that's actually a rough edge, that's a planed edge, so we'll use that planed edge. And I'm going to actually mark it before I even start, so we know that's the surface edge. I've no idea if this is sewn square. It clearly isn't, I can see that. So if you start to playing with that, need a little bit more set on that plane. There we go. Now then, In order not to burst out on this back edge, the best thing to do is to flip your board over and then just move it out a little bit so that it's not quite square to the thing. I'll just take a couple of shavings off there. I think that was 3, wasn't it? And then shoot the end of your board. And as you're shooting it, you'll see that we're working our way to this edge. I'll give you a close-up of that. Well, there you go. It was as quick as that. That is a beautiful, smooth edge. And if you're making a drawer or a box or something like that, to be able to get those perfectly square edges as quickly as that, so you could cut them all on your chop saw for rough sections, but by doing this you elevate your work, you take it to the next level, and that's what we want to try and get to. We've got beautiful little shavings there, absolutely whisper thin. You can also, of course, use a shooting board along its length. Actually, the grain runs the other way. I'll flip that one over. So you can actually use it this way as well. And now I've got perfectly clean and a square edge, because it's whatever this was, it's got glue on it. But that's cleaned that edge up a treat. Let's just take a look at how this shooting board is actually put together. One of the key things is, for 90% or probably 95% of the time, you just want to square up the end of a board. So the important thing is this section here, is that square to this edge. And this particular one is only made of MDF. I made it, well, I don't even know how many years ago I made this. It stood up really well. I just needed one at the time. I couldn't find one. And it's just basically a sheet of MDF, 2 smaller pieces with these gaps left. And these are glued and screwed down. But they're tapered, these slots. So when I put that in there, it starts to bind at that point. So it can just be tapped into place and then it's wedged. The same with that one. I find this works better, and if that over time gets chipped and broken, you can always plane a little bit off, tap it through and refresh that end, which is why I've left it a bit longer. The other thing to note about them is you need to make sure that the board itself, this board, is flat and not dipped. It's not so bad if it's actually slightly crowned. Your plane will still ride square, but if it's dipped, your plane will tend to wobble a little bit, and you don't want that. So make sure your board is flat. And I've sealed this one both on the underside and on the top side, just with some linseed oil. And in this section, I actually wax, just with a regular wood wax. Nothing special. I just literally put a bit of wax on. It makes a lot of difference to how smoothly the plane will glide over that surface. And that's what you want, really, because you don't want added friction. You want your effort to go into whichever end it was, cutting that end grain. So let's take a closer look at what I was actually doing when I planed that timber then. I've got the plane on the bed and it's just sliding backwards and forwards. Let's just lock that in. It is a lot better if you actually put your shooting board in a vise, because there's several forces going on here. Unlike a bench shot where you're basically just sewing away from you, you're actually pushing the plane into that fend, into this edge, and you're also pushing your timber into the blade, or into the sole of the plane. So you're doing both things at the same time, as well as pushing the plane backwards and forwards. So you want the plane to glide along there as smoothly as possible, because the easier that runs, the easier it is for you. The second thing is, don't put a lot of cut on your plane blade. Actually, back the plane off so it doesn't take a cut, and then literally just nudge it forward a little bit at a time, so it's just kissing the wood. I'll just put a little bevel on the back edge of this again. That's quite a heavy cut, that. It's the lightest of cuts. You end up with a beautiful clean edge. It doesn't matter whether it's a thin piece. I'm using pieces of sapele here because I thought it would be better to use something that was a bit tougher. Again, this one wants a little bevel on that back edge, and you can see where that is, just there. Then into the shooting wood. There you go. Now that is just bouncing a little bit, and when it does that, I'm going to just take a tiny bit less of a cut. There we go. And there you go, pristine cut. Of course, with this particular shooting wood, we can also shoot at 45. Whoops. Shouldn't really use the there we go. Shouldn't really use the plane as a hammer, but there you go. If I take a little piece of timber, I've put a 45 on here already. We can bring your plane into there. There you go, perfect 45. And that, if you're making picture frames or mouldings or little boxes or things like that, and you want to get that beautifully clean, crisp 45, that is how you go about it. I hope that's been of some help to you. Please like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so that the next time I upload a video, you'll get to see it. Oh, and let's also shout out to Chris Payne, one of my gold members. Thank you very much for your support, Chris. And until next time, take care now. Bye.